Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. We're starting to see some new 2021 Harley-Davidson models come out, and I wanted to talk about it because I did a video, I don't know, a month or so back on my 2021 Harley-Davidson predictions, and some of them are really out there, and it looks like maybe some of them might be coming true, but of course we don't know yet. By the time this video drops, it should be next week that we'll be hearing about the new Harley-Davidsons, the full 2021 lineup, directly from Harley-Davidson. The last few days, I've seen some photos dropping through social media on dealerships receiving some of their 2021 models, and it's pretty interesting stuff. So we'll go ahead and jump right into the bikes that I thought that I would cut in the video that I did last time. Anytime you talk about cutting any Harley-Davidson model, there is always a group of guys who are going to scream foul, but the whole intent of that video was geared around understanding that Harley needs to cut some costs, basically reduce some overhead, and just streamline production. And they've already kind of alluded to that a little bit in some of their financial disclosures and shareholder meetings. So a lot of what I was saying was, well, to some people might be shocking if you listen to what they're saying in the background. Seemed to me like it was something that would be a little bit more of a reasonable approach to what the new Harley-Davidson lineup might be. Now, first, we'll start with the bikes that I was wrong with. Sort of. I've only seen the Iron 1200. I have not seen the 883, the 48, or the Roadster, so it is possible that Harley may be cut down to just one Sportster, while maybe they consider revamping that whole line with hopefully maybe a Revolution Max, smaller displacement motor. We'll see about that. And the Fat Bob is still here. So I did cut that out of my lineup originally, and some people cried foul to that. But again, I'm just kind of picking what I think, and of course, it's all subjective. But the Fat Bob is here to stay. Bikes that I cut that I think I'm right about, that I haven't seen any 2021s roll off the truck with, and I don't think there's going to be any major announcements that they're holding them back for, would be the Street Bob, the Deluxe, Softail Slim, FXDR, Breakout, the standard lowrider. I have seen some lowrider S's. And oddly enough, I have not seen any 2021 Fat Boys roll off any trucks yet. So is it possible that Harley could cut the Fat Boy? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about that. But on all of social media, I've yet to see any 2021 Fat Boys roll off the truck. Now, to get into bikes that I have seen that I'm not really surprised is the 2021 Sport Glide. Now, if you've watched the channel for any time, you'll know that I created a bit of a Sport Glide concept that was a little more like the Street Glide. And boy, I'll tell you what, the 2021 Sport Glide, just color matching those bags makes it much more of what I consider to be like a Street Glide Mini, as opposed to a Street Glide. I couldn't afford the real one, so I bought this one version. Guys get really mad when I say that, especially guys who own the Sport Glide. I'm not saying it's a bad bike. I never had said it was a bad bike. Just being brutally honest, I just felt like Harley-Davidson built a Sport Glide that was built for guys who couldn't afford to go up to the larger Street Glide. So it almost looked like a penalty, in my opinion. But as soon as you color match those bags, I changed my opinion on the Sport Glide completely. I still think the fairing is too small, but maybe if you put a Reckless fairing on there, it would look a lot more like a Street Glide Mini, as I say it should be, for a more commuter style Street Glide that looks like the real thing, or looks like the bigger brother, but is smaller, more agile, power to weight ratio is better. All of those things, I think the Sport Glide becomes a much more attractive bike with those color matched bags. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think? But in that white color, I think it looks killer. And Laidlaw's also posted a gray version of it. I don't know what all the paint colors are, but I love the new look of the Sport Glide with the color match bags. If that existed when I bought my Heritage, pretty good chance I probably would have went with that Sport Glide. The Softail Standard, Lowrider S, and Heritage, I have seen those also. I've also seen all of the touring bikes except for the Specials or any CVOs. Pretty common, obviously they would hold the CVOs back because every year something changes with those and it's kind of the flagship. So I'm sure they're holding back for that. But what is going on with the Street Glide and Road Glide Specials? Because I have seen the Street Glide and Road Glide in their standard form, and I've also seen the Ultras, but the Specials are not coming off trucks yet, it seems. So I'm guessing something is changing significant with the Specials that would cause them to unveil them next week. I expect to see, this is where this gets interesting, because I do expect to see a lot of hype around the Revolution Max. We all know it's coming out with the Pan America in February. Will be a separate announcement for that. But there's a part of me now that's wondering, I'm not seeing the specials roll off the truck, and why haven't they shown up yet? I can't imagine that they're just going to throw some LED turn signals on these things and say that they're good. I mean, they already came out with RDRS last year. The new Boombox GTS is already there. How much more could really be changing unless you were to talk about a new Revolution Max, new frame, special touring line? Also maybe with the CVOs. The reason why this makes sense to me, again, you haven't seen them roll off the truck yet, and there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of old grumbly guys, Harley-Davidson guys, and you see them in the comments on my channel. You see them across everywhere, and that's fine. That is a huge portion of Harley's base. I respect that group of guys, but the idea that Harley could utilize the specials, which are all blacked out, and those same grumbly guys pretty much kind of already don't like the blacked out look to begin with, but the younger guys, the performance bagger guys do. And that would be a perfect place to put the new touring frame with the Revolution Max, give it a year before they put it to all the rest of the bikes, and kind of let the older group kind of get dragged along with it, because you see it with tech products. You saw it with Blackberries and things like that, where the old grumbly guys held on to their Blackberry with the keyboard for as long as they possibly could, until all their friends and family had the iPhone and they realized, like, wow, that thing really is just that much better. And they kind of came along. So I'm looking at this saying, like, well, that would be pretty interesting. And I understand this is kind of a Hail Mary, but why else haven't you seen the specials roll off the trucks yet? It would also be a pretty significant gut punch, in my opinion, to Indian. I think the Indian Challenger is great. I think Indian has great motorcycles, but Harley still has that name, which, as years and years go on, the name becomes less important in the market. I think people just want to buy the best thing available, but the name still matters. So if Harley came out and had a motor with the Revolution Max that puts out horsepower similar to the Power Plus, which they're saying is 122 horsepower, and they can kind of get into this battle of the baggers, it makes sense to me. The only thing that makes me think that it doesn't make sense, aside from the fact that it is a Hail Mary in and of itself, is if they were to do that, I would imagine that the standards, basically think the Street Glide, Road Glide standard, chromed out bikes, would get the 114, because if the Revolution Max is going to be in the special line of bikes as a liquid-cooled bike with a new frame and all that, why not give the 114 treatment to the standards? I don't know. That's one thing that doesn't make sense to me. I do see all the standards still have the 107. So I'm not sure. Again, I just like to make some bold predictions with Harley. Not saying that they come true, but just based on what I see out there, it is interesting to play a little bit of a speculation game. Now, off of that whole special line of bikes, that would be amazing to see Harley-Davidson with a new frame and a new power plant in those special bikes and CVOs. Of course, we expect to see some teases of the Pan America with that Revolution Max. Again, that's going to be announced in February as a separate announcement. And then I do expect to see either the end of the live wire, because I have not seen any 2021 live wires, or an evolution of the live wire. And I do expect to see an evolution of the live wire. Again, I haven't seen any 2021 live wires roll off the truck yet. Maybe they come out with a cheaper version. Maybe they have a live wire 2.0. Who knows? But I do expect to see something in the world of live wire, and I hope I do. Now, Harley-Davidson Pan America global reveal is set for February 22nd. The main line of bikes is set for January 19th. And just a couple other things that I noticed in this new line of 2021s is that the hydraulic clutch on the touring bikes is gone. They have gone back to a cable clutch, probably something similar to what's on the Softails now. and they still have halogen turn signals. Such low-hanging fruit. I don't know. It just seems like the easiest thing for them to stop letting that be any sort of narrative. But I digress. I'm super excited to see what comes off the line here for 2021. Again, next week we will know everything aside from the Pan America. And it's going to be interesting, but I have been paying attention to the bikes that are coming out now for 2021, what some of the dealers have actually gotten off their trucks. It's just an interesting time for Harley because they're announcing their bikes at a time of the year that they never did before, and you usually didn't see bikes hitting social media prior to the line being announced, but it's all new. Harley's going through a lot of changes right now, and in my opinion, changes for the better, but with change comes some polish that needs to be put on that change. So it's an interesting time for Harley-Davidson. I'm happy that there's finally some things to talk about. It's pretty awesome. So with that being said, guys, I will have more content next week relative to this product launch. And thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I'll see you guys next time.